Guys, so I gotta tell you something. I think this is something which I learned. So I have a habit of sharing that which I learned. So okay, so let me just tell you. So basically, this is something which I had written to my manifestation coach, and she answered me so well that I didn't know how to thank her. She's indeed like a human form of an angel or God who I found out when I was like desperately wanting. So let me just tell you something. So I I didn't know that how to like when we use this word manifest your SP. So I didn't know something like this existed. As far as I know what manifesting is equal to praying. Okay, so it's like traditionally when you people who are not aware of what manifesting actually is, and they have just locally heard this term somewhere, that okay, manifesting this kind of life, manifesting this and that. So they are like, I wanted to manifest this, but I ended up getting there. So they actually don't have the tools to actually understand what manifestation is. They think that everything is on autopilot. They think that since things have already always happened this way, so this will also end up this way. So they actually don't know how to go ahead from the already old pattern. Okay, so that's where. So I used to see these people, online people used to post content like manifesting finance, manifesting a lot of money, manifesting your favorite person as your husband or wife or whatever it is. And I was like, okay, so this something like this is possible. Okay, and before that, I did come across law of assumption, law of attraction. Like law of attraction was something my mom introduced me to. So before this, I had come across these things, but I actually didn't know how to, actually discipline my mind. And there are so many techniques out there which you can actually include to reprogram your subconscious mind. So that was the reason I was not aware of it. Okay, so then I saw some coaches, and they used to charge huge bucks of money to coach people. And that's where I felt like I always wanted someone to hear my stories, hear something like that. That's why my boyfriend, he knows that I will blabber world stories to him even if he has nothing to do about it. So so that is the reason. So I used to think that why do you even have to charge money for hearing someone's stories? But when I became a coach, then I understood that it becomes exhausting and draining when it's not. If it is your person, he or she is telling you something that is manageable because you love this person. But when it comes to trying to train other people also, and they also have their own baggage and trauma and all that kind of stuff, so that's where you need to set boundaries, and you need to actually charge people. It's like you're actually working as a form of a therapist for some people who don't know how to get their way and who have lost their way. So uh, mm, so that's where it is. So when you do it for your family, when you do it for your friends, when you do it for your SP, or when you do it for your boyfriend or girlfriend, I mean people who are already in a relationship, so those kind of stuff. So by the way, you guys are also in a relationship in the 5D, may not be in the 3D, but yeah, so that's the thing. So that's where, like, I understood why people charge, because it becomes otherwise very exhausting to coach people without getting a reward out of it. Because if there are 5 clients out there who you are trying to help, so it will not be very so our brain feels good when we are rewarded. So that's the thing. So you go to office, you want to be rewarded, you do not go and do your work for free there. So that's why they have a concept of charging people of coaches. So when I became a coach, then I understood this is totally justified to charge. So that's the thing. So what happened is, like, at that point of time when I was in college and I didn't have money to pay, so and I also didn't know how to ask money from my mother, saying that I want to give it to a coach. So what I did was, I asked the universe to send me someone who could coach me for free, and the universe did deliver it. So I got to know someone who was very, very nice, very, very nice. And most thankfully she was a woman, because what happens is that when there is a male coach, the male perspective comes in. So I had seen a male coach also, like in online. Not I'd not talked to that person, because it made me feel a bit uncomfortable to open up. But so that male coach used to only focus on boundaries, and he also always used to say, your SP is treating you this way and that way. Like, not to me, he used to post video contents. So he used to always say that your SP is treating you this way and that way, so you should always set boundaries, as if like boundaries are the only thing you need to do while manifesting. No, boundaries, yes, boundaries are important. If you feel like something is not appreciated, so you should make the other person understand by setting boundaries. That is fine. But boundaries, if that person also understands you and you also understand that person, there is something other than boundaries, that is self concept. And there is also, what to say, there's a self concept, like elevating your self concept, your self love. Then second thing is that how you see your SP. So some people out there, like I had a client who used to say that she had a divorce case happening, and she used to she had a love marriage. Okay, so what happened is that after some time she had some problems with her mother-in-law, and even her mother-in-law was not the reason for her divorce case happening. It was the misunderstandings between her husband and her which was doing that. And she used to constantly shout at her husband, and her husband also used to, like, didn't know how to patiently handle her. So that was the thing. So yes, both of them needed inner work, but the problem with her was that, so her husband, when there was a divorce case going on, and so her husband used to talk to his ex as a friend, and she used to come and tell me that he's hanging out there, and I told my husband that I will put a case on your ex because she's hanging out with you. And I said, are you crazy or are you mad? Why would you? You are seeing that your relationship is in trouble, and then you're saying things like you would put a case on his ex. I mean, you need to understand, you are his wife, and no matter who he hangs out with, if you don't see him trustworthy, then I mean, see, you need to see that person in a new light. And second thing is that it proved to me how insecure she is. She is the wife of this person, still she's insecure that he's hanging out with his ex. Like, when you married this person, you also know the kind of person he is. So why would you have an assumption that he's going to cheat on you just because he's hanging out with his ex? I mean, and then I also asked, is his ex having another boyfriend or someone? He said, so my client said that yes, I do have. I know that they are actually there's a guy in her life, and they are engaged. I said that, what is your problem? Why are you worrying about this then? I mean, see, what you see or what you don't see, it's only half the truth. So when I used to be not in talking terms with my SP, I used to see him going around hanging out with different people. So there used to be a chunk of male, female people. Everyone used to be there. He used to go for parties. He used to go for he used to go for outings with other people. And you know what? A part of me used to get very hurt because I was not included in it. But second the second part was, I also used to think, okay, so he's smiling in those pictures, so that means he's actually happy without me. I used to have these kinds of assumptions because that's how all human being would think. But when I came across manifestation, and I came across, the God kind of love, or introducing God in your relationship as like, it's not a relationship between just you and me, there is God between us. So that's when I understood that it is only the half truth which I see outside. I mean, so what I made a story, and what I knew, and this is not just a story, this is the truth actually. So what I knew was that yes, he's hanging out with people because without me there is a void inside of him. And how would he cope if he doesn't hang out with people who make him happy? So yes, he's happy, and I have always wanted his happiness. So I'm glad that he's smiling, even if like I'm not near him. But yeah, so that's the thing, that's the story I made. So little by little, that kind of pain that I'm not included in all these outings or all these parties where he goes, that pain lessened down. Why? Because I made a story that even if I see this, it doesn't mean that he doesn't love me. No, of course, like even now, for example, like a lot of things has happened between me and him, like in the old story, not in the new story which I carry now. So in the old story, I had a lot of things like which bothered me, etc., etc. But I knew that this person is still my husband, like my SP is still my husband, and also I also, and even I smiled when things were I don't know what to say. Like, I'm just trying to give an example. Of course, so some people have an assumption that he's smiling, he's posting good stories, he's posting happy stories, so that means he doesn't think about me. That means like I don't know what is happening. Is my manifestation working or not? They will have such kind of questions. Okay, that's what I'm trying to explain. If you start initially and you have totally traumatic and very negative kind of, not traumatic is something different, but if you have totally negative kind of thoughts that okay, just because he's hanging out, he's not thinking about me, then bro, you're totally wrong. Things don't happen that way. Even you go out when you have troubles with your SP, and sorry, even you smile. So why wouldn't why would you conclude that just because he's smiling, he's happy without you? So that's the thing. And this used to be this is what I hear from people nowadays, but this used to be this kind of thinking I used to have when 2 years back, because I used to be very, very jealous that he's going out without me. But in the end, when I saw that smiley face of him, it just, all these things just faded out, that yes, he's going out, so what, he still loves me, and I'm glad that he's happy. So that's what, if you love someone, their happiness matters to you. So yeah, so that's the thing. So when I met my manifestation coach, that's when I'd always wanted someone who would help me, because I didn't have because I couldn't pay her anything. So I just so I just thought that at least I would ask just 2-3 questions, and if she answers, that itself would be enough, because I just needed that push or that support, or that it's not motivation which makes you disciplined, it's your discipline which makes you disciplined. So when you have that, so basically I had heard a song about about a manifestation coach. She had made a song on it, and she basically, the gist of the song was, when you think not from the story, but when you think from, do you want to change? So when you think, so basically so she had put a song with her coach, that when she was in trouble, her coach just asked her one question, that what would you be, 100% what would you be without your story? Without your story as in old stories, any old story, whether it's with your current SP or whether it's someone before them, anything like that. Whatever narrative you have put into your head, without that story, what are you? And she was clueless. She couldn't answer anything. And then he said that exactly that's what I want you to be. I need you to unload those old stories, those old scripts, those old patterns from your out of your head, as if like it doesn't exist. And I'm not saying from the perspective of how much you can unload at that those stories at this point of time. I'm just saying that, are you willing to be a new person, or are you willing to come outside of those stories which has already happened with you? And that totally opened my eyes. My story was, I am abandoned, I am abandoned, not abandoned. So I am abandoned means somebody left you, like my father left me. So I had that story always in my head that I am always left out. And so that's what I got, because like, I got that treatment from my crowd, MBA crowd, because I had that story in my head, I'm always left out. And of course I felt that with my SP as well, because at that point of time, like, things were not going good, so I felt left out, even though that was not the truth. He was always there for me and I was always there for him. So that's the thing. Okay, so enough of all these things. So let me tell you what I had written to my manifestation coach. So basically I said that, hi, I know I may be asking a repetitive question which I generally ask and maybe even know the solution, but why people around me and what they say seems bothering to me. Also 2 days back, my SP called me and kept me unblocked for 1 day. Then again he blocked me and I got a panic attack. I soothed it though, but I don't understand why I'm feeling so uncomfortable. He might have done this on surface, but I know that he's working to be together with me. I know a stage like this would come when he and me would be together. And I wrote that I knew a stage would come when so basically I kind of wrote this in a way that, I mean, I might not be able to narrate the exact words I wrote, but because it's kind of broken here and there, so it wouldn't make sense to you guys. So basically what I wrote is, I knew a stage would come when he would rebuild himself for us. I feel like talking to my SP, so I do inner conversation. So this I am also writing the same thing. I mean, this is continuing to what I wrote to my coach. I feel like talking to my SP, so I do inner conversation. But somehow I am also fearing the bad things he said, though I know it's not right, but might just be an excuse. So, could you help? Maybe I know what you would say, but I still want to hear it from you. So my manifestation coach said that your nervous system is dysregulated. So she said that your job is to feel safe, self-regulate, and keep yourself focused on the new story, no matter what the 3D throws your way. The triggers are a good thing. They are showing you the limiting beliefs and stories you need to drop and the new ones you need to adopt instead. You just need to want to choose the new ones instead of the old ones. That's how easy it is. If it feels difficult, it's because that's the story you are telling yourself, and no one can save you from that story except you. No one is coming to the rescue. It's either we want to change and accept our change and do what we need to do by accepting the triggers and changing our assumption. If not, nothing will change, or it will take a very, very long time for the change. Please, then she said that you should recreate your SP and in your head and apply it in your everyday life. You seem to not be practicing. Everyone is you pushed out. You need to self-regulate daily. You don't feel safe, and when you don't feel safe, you will struggle to manifest or trust the process. Sometimes it's not about knowing the answer, it's about feeling safe and grounded in it. And that's exactly what your nervous system is begging you for right now. So here's what I need you to understand. Your triggers right now are not because of him. They are because you haven't fully shifted your identity yet. He keeps sorry You keep trying to mentally anchor into he's changing, he's working on himself, but your body, your nervous system is still anchored in waiting mode, fear mode, fight or flight mode. That's why a single block or unblock cycle throws you off so deeply. It's not because he holds power, it's because you're still living as the version of you who is bracing for impact. And listen, I know you see movements. I know he said things which you were affirming in private. I know you are so close, but your subconscious is throwing its final tantrums. Your body is saying, wait, we have lived in pain so long. Can we really let this story go? And you are going to have to calm that part of you, not by convincing it with logic, but by practicing safety every single day. The harder you want to make this by freaking out to every single little thing you see, your subconscious will be like, yep, let's make it harder. So basically, if you guys don't know what is fight or flight mode, basically my Hindi came out in between. So what happens is that for example, you are making food, okay, and you are suppose making chapatis as in roti, or you can also say, like, I do not know what the English word is. So if you guys have made rotis, so what do we do is we make a dough, we make circles, and then we make a big circle out of that thing, and then we put it in the pan to make that thing into a roti. So now if you touch that hot pan, what would your stimulus be? Save me, right? So because it is hot, and your automatic reaction is come and save me. So what happens is that if you are careful, you would not go close to the pan or something. No, this is not the right example. Let me give you some other example. So what happens is okay, so when I was a baby, I never liked to cut my hairs. So whenever I would go to a salon or something like that, I would be like, oh my god, they are cutting all my hairs. So that was my reaction at that point of time. And now when I feel like there are so many split ends, I myself cut it. So do you see the example? The first part of the story where somebody took you to a salon and you started shrieking and shouting, that's because you had a fearful story in your head that somebody would cut all your hairs and you would be bald. Okay, so you carried that story. The second part of the story is you cut your own hairs because you saw split ends in your hairs. So there, that fearful part of the story is gone. You are just being the chill version. So this might be a very slight example, but this is what I mean by fight and flight mode. So basically, maybe when you were very young, your father left you, and you carried that pain all over your life, that okay, so I am someone who is always left out. Now these old stories you need to drop. Why? Because you have lived with this pain for so many years that you find that you do not have any identity except this pain. And I think this is what every one of us carry. So I carry this one, my SP would carry some other pain, but then maybe my roommate carries some other pain, maybe my roommate's mother carries some other pain, or my mother carries some other pain. And also one more thing, you need to be really knowing this. So people might have different opinions. The thing is, people come from their own perspectives. So today I was talking, so I'm in a project management unit. So I usually talk to different delivery unit heads and also project managers. So, and I'm somewhere acting in between. So my job is to coordinate with both project managers and delivery unit heads. So what happens is that the delivery unit heads comes with a perspective that you should not accept all the plan which is given to you by the project managers. You should be questioning it. You should be seeing what is right and what is wrong. Whereas the project managers, they would just see their cost and they would just see that they cannot afford this particular resource or particular person, so they would be either replacing them or they would be cost cutting, something like that. So can you see, you are in that same department, but two different people or five different people have different opinions. Similarly, if you are in a situation wherein like I'll just give an example, and it might not be a right example, but I'm still giving an example. I do not want to like blame someone or something, and I do not even want to think about this person, but still I'm giving an example. So my SP used to tell me that someone before me who he used to love, so this particular person had her own limitations that she could not fight for him. I said, this is all bluff. She made you a fool. She used you and used your feelings, and she didn't do anything about it. These are all bullshit nonsense. And why I say this is because I am fighting with this whole world for my person. And it's not because it's not like, to be honest, it feels like fighting, but this could have been avoided had it been like if we had a commitment prior to this, then things would have moved very smoothly. But fine, for some or the other reason things didn't happen that way. Maybe there's a beautiful other beautiful plan for uniting us, and we are already united. It's not like we are not united. Obviously we are united. So what I'm trying to tell you is, so people have different opinions, okay? So see, even my uncle yesterday told me, you will not have a better person except this guy. No, he doesn't know that I have someone in my life who I love, and it's because I could not tell, because until and unless my SP tells me, I cannot tell that to any other person, because once I tried this with my mother and it ended up very bad. Like I told that I love this person, and then I asked him, and then he said no. I knew I never wanted to do that, why I never wanted to do that is because I wanted it to come from that side so that things could move smoothly. And that is what I always wanted, that when a proposal comes from the boy's side or the man's side, not the boy, sorry, nobody's a boy now, when a proposal comes from the male person's side, then that's when actually it works out. But if a proposal comes from a female person's side, maybe I'm having my limiting beliefs, it could be, I'm just saying, but it's like both person needs to have it. So needs to want to be in a commitment. So if one person is not ready and the other person is proposing, will you marry me, that's not gonna how it works. So you need to be, and that's why people always say that females should not be and I feel like that is somewhat right. Females, and I'm not saying this in a bad way or anything like that, but when a fertilization happens, like when a baby comes in somebody's womb, the sperm comes to the egg doesn't go to the sperm. And I think that is how people that is why people conventionally used to say that a male should propose, not a female should propose. And I'm not, that's what I'm saying, that it's not in a bad way I'm saying, but I think that's how it is. Females are born to nourish, females are born to protect a man through her prayers, and that's what I do too. But a male person is responsible for asking them out. A male person is responsible for proposing, and I'm not putting this burden to a male person, but But I think that's what femininity is. A male is drawn to a person, a woman's femininity. If a woman is behaving like a man, he would not obviously he would not be attracted, because he's already a man. Why would he want a man? So I'm not saying that proposing someone if you're a female makes you a male person. I'm not saying that. But what I'm trying to say is like, let it come from the guy's side. That's better. So I totally lost my point. What I was trying to say is, if somebody really wants to marry you, like I'm saying about from that story point of view, which my SP had said, if somebody really wants to marry you, this person would fight with the whole world to be with you, like I am doing for my SP. But if somebody is like, okay, my parents said that I will have to listen to them, or my uncle said this is my responsibility of the family. Well, your uncle said that it is the responsibility of a family because your uncle doesn't know what you have with your SP. So I'm not talking about me, but had I been able to open up my story with my uncle, I would have totally told him then and there, I am rejecting this guy because I have someone else in my life, and then he would have happily agreed with it, because he's not against love marriages. Nobody in my family is against love marriages. In fact, they are the first one to tell me go and find someone. They were telling me since I was in class 12. Nobody in our family is against love marriages, but the only thing they want is that be married. So my situation at this point of time has become so complicated. Like I won't define it as complicated because I don't want to keep it that way. So when you put a label on something, it becomes that, and your subconscious starts aligning to that. So it's like it had become so complicated that people were like, okay, if there's no commitment from the man's side, then you may go ahead and find someone else. And I was like, that no, but are you mad or crazy? Like that is how I thought inside my mind. Are you mad or crazy? I've been manifesting this person for such a long time. I will never let this person go. He is going to be my husband, that's all. And I always had this story inside my mind, and I know that everything is aligning properly the way I want it to be. So that's what I was trying to say, that people may have different opinions. Your mother might say that you should get married. She just wants you to be happy. Your uncle might say that what is the problem, why are you not saying yes to this person or something like that. Why? Because he doesn't know the other part of your story. What your role is to just be that woman who your SP marries. Be that. And what happens is that here I was talking about triggers, that he blocked me, and then again I went off top, like something like, not off top, like I got triggered and something like that. And though I would tell you that my triggers have become far lesser than what it used to be. I used to blast at him when he used to block me. I mean that would be the scariest day for him. And I don't appreciate blocking people. I mean, why would you appreciate why would you block someone? Like, even I have certain people who I do not like at all, but I never block them. It's because like I'm like, I can ignore, but I won't block them. So to me at that point of time, like since the start, like when I first got blocked by him, it was the first time I felt like, okay, I did something wrong, that's why he blocked me. But later on, when it became a habit, that's where I was like, okay, now this is starting to trigger me. And then it became habit. Anything happened, he would block me. I'm like, oh my god, what is this? Like, and then now I'm like, I don't care. You block me, you unblock me, it doesn't. I don't want to think about it. Because I want to have a life with you. You can block me in your mobile phone, but you are still in love with me, and you always think about me. I made that story. So you can block people's number, you can block or do anything you want to, but you cannot block them from your mind or your heart. So that's the true thing. All these are virtual things, limiting conversations and all that shit. So with those kind of stories, and to be honest, like That's a kind of thing. Maybe you can see it this way, that maybe he doesn't know how to deal with the situation right now. That's why he doesn't he doesn't want to disappoint you, and that's why he's limiting the conversation by blocking you. You can see it that ways. But anyways, that's not a right thing. You should never have an assumption that your SP blocks you. So even if it does happen to you in the 3D as well, try to frame a story that he never blocks me, he's afraid of losing me. So try to frame a story like that, affirm that would be good. So I think the only time I blocked my SP is when I got very angry about something he did, and I blocked both of his numbers, and then I immediately unblocked him after 2 days. So I don't know, like I just can't do these things with him. So anyway, you can always recreate these things about your SP. Okay, so my manifestation coach says that you're really close and you need to deal with your triggers. So what happens is that when you have lived with your pain for such a long time, it could be anything. It's not always about some person in your life or your father in your life. It's not always like that. What I mean to say is that if you have lived with certain limiting beliefs for a long time, you really need to feel safe by the new story. And how do you do that? You should do nervous system regulation. And what does this nervous system regulation mean? So it's basically is like whenever you get triggered, you get panic attacks, or you have any sort of thing like that, you basically tell yourself that I'm safe. It's just the old story popping up, and my brain is trying to protect me because I am trying to shift my identity from what I never was to what I want to be. So that in transition phase, whether it could be anything in life, like when you are from student, when you become a professional, or when from internship you get promoted to a placement. Okay, so that in between phase is very difficult. So what happens is that your job is to just be what you are, be what you want to be, make that identity of how does that, if you want to be the wife of your person, so how would that wife of your person feel? You need to think it that ways. And even when you face triggers, you should be regulating your nervous system, do some breathing, talk to God, maybe journalize your feelings, or tell yourself that I'm safe. And this is just the old story popping up because this is what had always happened with me, but it's never going to happen again. I just need to shift into a new reality and it will happen. And there's nothing wrong which will happen when I shift my identity. So that's what I want to tell you. So see, we all have gone through shit things, but that doesn't mean that just because we have gone through those shit things, we cannot create a reality we want to live in. And so once my manifestation coach told, I think she was telling it to someone else, she told that if someone is going through a difficult time, there are two ways of how you can come out of the difficult time. Either adopt positive thoughts or adopt negative thoughts. So when you go back to what has happened in your life always before this stage, and think that okay, now also things would happen that ways, you are actually affirming that it would happen. But if you start affirming that good things would happen and only what I want would happen, and you adopt that, you embody that identity and you embody that thing, no matter what, you would get that. Because see, at this point of time, when you are trying to shift into a new identity, you are anyway in pain in the 3D, and you are trying to go away from that pain and shift into a new identity by affirming yourself that this is meant to happen because I have put this intention into this universe, and now the universe will take care of it and give it to me. So if you are in pain, why don't you Why don't you think about the positive things and be that person who has what they want, rather than going back to that old shitty thinking where nothing worked out? So I think this is what we need to understand. And I think I had been into that phase when I was going, like when I was in college and I was not able to talk to my SP. You know how painful that was to me. He was my best friend, and I really mean that best friend word. I mean, he was someone like I used to talk to everything, like even now I do when I do my inner conversation, when I used to. And even before this, like two months back, when I used to send him some tapes to listen, I always blabbered my heart out to him. It's because like he was my best friend. I can lose anyone, but I do not want to lose this person ever. So that kind of thing. So it was so painful to me to actually he used to come in front of my face. He used to pretend that he doesn't see me, and he used to go. And then like he used to hang out with every other person, just not me. It was so painful to me. So if you are in that painful stage, why don't you affirm about what you want things to be, rather than focusing on, okay, he did this and that, he said this and that, okay, something. I do not know what your story is. So instead of complaining about it, why don't you stick to your new identity? I mean, see, things eventually work out, things eventually happen. You do not have to know how. So when I was in the risk of losing my job, I tried my level best in the 3D to do what I could, and I could not do anything. And when I just surrendered it to God, and God did it for me. At this point of time also, like for my marriage with my SP, I tried to do everything I could for this, but I could not. Like, one person cannot do anything for both. So I needed his help, and he will take action. He will do what is needed. It's just that I already need to shift into that identity completely, that he has already taken action. We are getting married. So I do not know, I cannot upload the real picture out here. So basically I had made a wedding card of him and me, like, we are getting married to each other, please come in our wedding, save the date, something like that I had made, and I sent it to one of my friends. She was not like a MBA friend actually. I just sent her that as a one-time thing, one-time photo, and then she said, "Oh, is it really happening? When is it happening? Where is it happening?" I'm like, "Dude, it's just a vision board kind of thing." So, and she was also like a manifestation person. So, these are simple things which you can do, which makes you happy. And the more you not concentrate on things on what you don't want, like, okay, your family is trying to convince you for something else. I mean, why would you think that? You know what? I tried to reduce that impact, and automatically I faced less pressures. I did not give a fuck about what people say. I'm like, I decided my husband. It's like how Ma Durga selected Lord Shiva as her husband. I have that kind of devotion for my person also. So since childhood, I'd always worship Shiva. I always used to put water in his that linga. So I always had that kind of devotion for him. So when I read that Karwa Chauth history, or I don't remember, there was one more word for this. So there's I don't know, Bihari celebrated or UP people celebrated. I am not so sure. I come from I basically am a native. I speak Bengali, so I do not know what ritual people. So, okay, yeah, I remember. This is not of Bihari occasion, okay. So this is known. I'm not sure. So basically it is some festival of India wherein god goddess Parvati prayed to uh, prayed to the universe that I want Lord Shiva only as my husband, but he's telling me no, and something like that. I don't actually remember. So she said, I do not accept that no, because I know that he loves me. So you have to so I would not take anyone as my husband except this person. And she prayed about it, and that was one of the roop as in one of the avatar of goddess Parvati. So she has 12 avatars. Among it, one of the avatar was when she had become a yogi for Lord Shiva, and that's how she manifested Lord Shiva as her husband. So I whenever I saw any Lord Shiva or Lord Parvati thing, Goddess Parvati thing, I always used to think, this is, I want my bond to be this with my SP. So, I've always, I don't know, like, I've actually worshipped his existence because I wanted him to be my husband. So, and I do not mean it in a like pedestal kind of way. I mean it in a very natural way of how when you love someone, that person becomes like the most beautiful thing of your life. So I see him that ways. And so work with your triggers. That's all I wanted to say in all of this tape. Like it went into a lot of things, into a lot of different topics, but I wanted you to know this. That's all. Okay, thank you.